A lot of people do respect you, and I think it's because they see that you are going through your battles, but you're not trying to shove it down people's throats, silent with the suffering. But that's something I even respect more. You disagree with me?
No, dude.
No, yeah, dude.
I'm gonna be real, dude. I don't know if this is gonna make the pod, okay? But I'm just gonna talk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like we're not on the pod, right?
Please, yeah.
Okay. Fear has been holding me back for fucking years, bro. A lot of people can say like, damn, you quit your job with no plan 3 months into marriage. You, sir, are like brave. Or am I the exact opposite? Can we go back to providing, having to provide, versus, I mean, what you and Ruby Ann talked about was really, you kind of touched on that, and that was...
Yeah, because she was bringing up that, like, they have opportunities, right? And I know where RJ's coming from, where he's like, you could take this job, but you'll be away from home, like, this much longer every week. Is it worth that trade-off, right?
Right.
Well, for me, I'm in a different space now. And it's even crazier because I have 2 kids. And I've been there. I've been like, nah, it's not worth it because I'm going to be away from, the girls. Mm-hmm. What I'm starting to understand now the second time around with my second kid, it's like, I'm not that important at home. Me and Gracie have this talk all the time because I'm like, you know what? I'm not that important here. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, like feel bad for me. It's more of like, I can serve my purpose differently. And maybe that sounds like another day at work. Maybe that sounds like more hours at work. But I guarantee you this, I'll bring more home. Mm-hmm. The test now for me is when I am home though.
Yeah.
Am I making those quality moments count? That's the test. Or am I too tired in my job and I get home, I don't want to talk to anybody, I'm just going to crash. Like, you have to feel that out. For me, it's always a constant assessment of myself. Like, am I doing too much? Am I not?
Yeah.
Can I do more? And if I ask myself, like, if maybe I could do more, why don't I do this? And I add more, and I'm noticing that, like, when I'm home, I'm not quality dad anymore. And then maybe I'll dial back. But it's like that constant thing where I'm always assessing the moment. For dads, it's different, dude. Some dads, like, want to be home more. Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. You disagree with me?
No, dude.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
I'm gonna be real, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is gonna make the pod, okay? But I'm just gonna talk, like, real. I'm gonna pretend like we're not on the pod, right?
Please, yeah.
Okay. Because I have to give you some context with how I met the wife, right? So, the wife started showing up in BNP, like, let's just say, like, 2002, 2003, right?
Okay.
And her family's been in BNP, but she just started showing up, right? Mm-hmm. And at that time, we're all young, and anytime there was a new girl in BNP, we're just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's like,
she
hey,
stands out, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly who she was. She was that girl. Mm-hmm. Everybody was trying to get her attention. Let's just say that, you know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I saw her, but I'm like that. If somebody has everybody's attention, I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
So I'm not saying everyone is just talking, right? No one's really trying to pursue this, right?
But everybody sees her.
But everybody sees her, right? But nobody's gonna talk to her, right? And I was just like, I'm already turned off, right? But at the same time, the more I saw her, I'm just like, damn, right? First thing I noticed, obviously, is that, okay, she's into BNP, right? And that's attractive for me. It's something different, right? So the easiest way to get to know somebody, at least in our situation, right, in BNP, is like, you join dances.
Yeah.
Right? Join Ground Trade.
Yeah.
Practices, downtime during practices, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might have a small window, but you better be prepared, right? So it worked, right? I'm just planting little seeds here. I'm not being too aggressive. I'm just like, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? And it's chess, not checkers, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually I get this girl's attention. And it didn't take long, right? Let's just say this is like 2003, 2004, right? And so we started talking, right? And, it didn't take long for me to realize, like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, I think she might be the one, right? So I did what any normal person would do, right? When I realized like, oh man, like this could potentially be, or this is the girl I should marry, right? I think God really put her in my life or whatever. So I did what any normal person would do. I ran as far away from this fucking situation as possible, bro. You know, like straight ghosted. Before ghosted was a thing, like I totally just, no explanation, no nothing, dude. She was obviously in a different chapter, right? She had her, you know, she had a whole different set of friends, right? So I just thought it was done. Although I knew that she could potentially be the one, right? I figured that if I stayed in this relationship knowing that I had a lot of fucking growing up and changing to do, if I stayed there, I could potentially ruin like the future with her, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I made that decision, but I was just too immature and too whatever and I didn't even know how to explain that, you know, but when they say, if you love somebody, let them go. If they come back to you, they're yours, right?
Sure.
That was my justification. You know, I figured like, okay, well, I made that, I just did it the wrong way. So I was like, I stopped pursuing that and I just let it go. Okay. So I started dating somebody else, right? That relationship lasted 2 years, right? But one of the things about my wife is that we didn't have anything in common except for the fact that we were both trying to be better servants of God, right? That was the only thing we had in common, right? Part of me thought that's a strong foundation there, right? But is that enough to spend the rest of your life with somebody if you don't have anything else in common, right? And again, I'm young, I'm shallow, dude, right? So there's this other girl who still in, you know, in the same boat as far as church, right? Different chapter, but man, same taste in music, right? Into cars. I'm like, yeah. So I pursued that, you know, and that stuff goes away, bro. You know, we weren't compatible. Like spiritually, we were on different wavelengths. A year and a half later, that didn't work, right? So I'm like, okay, so it's not about having those kind of things in common, right? You know, I figured, okay, this relationship's done. But throughout that whole relationship, like she never really was too far away from my mind, you know? But I just figured like the way I went about it, like I got no chance, bro. So after that relationship, like I started planting the seeds against all the advice from her own sister, her chapter or whatever, you know what I mean? Like she still gave me another chance, bro.
Oh, they were all telling her not to?
Oh, for sure, dude. You know what I mean? For sure. The doubts set in, you know, this time we're getting to know each other more. And spiritually, we're on the same wavelength, you know? But it's like everything else, like, you know, we're serving together, which we should be, but bro, it's not really a fun relationship, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah, we're still young, we should be having fun, you know? So, bro, I did it again, dude. But what's worse is somebody in her own chapter.
Oh, shit.
Like, dude, asshole, bro, for real, man. I was going to the activities with this new chick and she was, you know what I mean? There, and she was there, right? So the things I had in common with this girl was just like, oh, damn. But again, you know, time will reveal, you know, and it did. And it's just, so I was like, okay, dude, like this relationship's not working. You know, we had everything in common. Like, what the hell went wrong, bro? So I'm like, okay, but dude, I did it twice. Like, for sure, she ain't gonna give me that fucking chance. This is done, bro. But dude, like, if it's Malcolm's will, dude, nothing can stop it, you know? And that's what it proved, dude. Like, but I knew the minute I broke up with this girl, dude, like, and I said, okay, here we go. I'm not gonna fuck it up again, dude, you know? And I tried, and sure enough, with the grace of God, again, against all of her own family, you know? She gave me another chance, bro, and the rest was fucking history, dude. Like, nothing could stop us. Fast forward, you know, we're on our way to get married, right? But as we're dating, she started school. Okay. I felt that it was just my purpose was just to make that journey as easy for her as possible. That's all I wanted to do.
Like support her.
Support her in every way, dude. Like, you know, financially, she was just go to school, I'm gonna work, right? Through that, you know, she was my motivation. The harder she would work, the harder it would make me want to work, right? She graduates, right? And I proposed to her like 2 days before she was gonna graduate. And I said, okay, this is the rest of my life. Like, I'm already late I'm like 29, bro. You know, I spent the last 9-10 years in the automotive industry. Like, I have a stable job, pays good benefits or whatever. She just got, you know, she just finished school. All right, this is the path we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, this is already, I can see the future. So she graduates, we get married, right? 3 months into the marriage, right? She kind of randomly, I guess, saw something. I don't know what it was, right? But we're already picturing our future. We're married, you know, and the next step is like, let's just get our financial game straight, and then it's time to think about the kids. The normal progression that we're supposed to go through, right?
The standard,
The standard. Right? I don't know what inspired her, but she was just like, hey, just randomly, are you okay? You know, I'm fine, right? That's our answer. I'm cool. You know, but usually when guys say like, oh, we're okay, bro, we're battling some shit, right? And I just suppressed, I guess I didn't realize how much I was really suppressing it, you know? But that one question sparked this whole thing, and I was just like, you know what? Now that you ask me that, I guess my biggest fear is that I had this feeling inside of me that I was just playing it very safe. With that corporate lifestyle, right? It's the same thing day in and day out. It's the grind. It's the fucking grind. You know, I started picturing us like having kids before it was even a thought. I pictured my life like that, day in and day out, the grind. What would the life look like with kids, you know? And she was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. Like, what if I could be my own boss? What if I can make my own schedule, or, you know? Even though we were just already set, she was like, dude, if that's something that you really feel like you need to pursue, do it now. I'll sacrifice. And I said, okay. Then I remember the day that I quit. I didn't have a plan, dude. You know, I just fucking quit, bro. Like, and I remember standing like in front of my car, like, and thinking like, how the fuck am I gonna pay for this shit? You know what I mean? Like, all these thoughts, you know. But I jumped off the cliff and hoped to grow some wings on the way down. You know, and that dude, like 3 months into marriage, bro, you know, that's a big ass risk. You know, but I told her, I was like, just give me a year, right? Give me a year, and if I don't make any progress, then I will go back to work. And she was like, all right, done. So I didn't have a plan, bro. I seriously didn't have a plan. But all I did was I took a little bit out of my 401k, and I bought a camera. You know, I bought a camera, and I was like, okay, let's find something, you know? And then 9 years later, bro, I still haven't had to get a job. A real job, I guess. You know what I mean? But, you know, and that 1 year turned into 3 years real quick, bro. But damn, she's a freaking trooper, dude. Like, you know, like she's still standing by me. I mean, we don't have it all figured out yet, you know what I mean? I'm in a way better place than I was, you know, but dude, she stood by me, man. And I have to spend the rest of my life just thanking her for that, you know? But those first few years, like, dude, next thing you know, it's like I make a little bit of progress the first year, you know, but I'm still in the bottom of, like, I'm looking at Mount Everest, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still making little progress. And next thing you know, boom, she's pregnant. You know, and nowhere near like any kind of safety net or anything like that. No kind of stability, you know, but I was making little moves, you know, and it's just like, okay. So, but that was the fuel I needed. You know, I'm like, how the heck am I gonna build a business and still try to be there for this kid, right? That took definitely a lot of faith and trust and patience on her end. But, you know, but as the years go by, things were slowly forming into something that I could call like a business, you know? But my biggest question around that time was like, at what point am I being selfish, dude? You know, because I was lucky enough to actually really actually develop a passion for something that can actually also make money. And obviously not a lot of people get to have that, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just like, as my kids are getting older, you know, and I'm still doing it, right? Like, I can't even say it's stable. Like the you know, when it's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it's like, oh crap, dude, you know? And it prevents me from being able to, I guess, provide or give the things that I would like to give in the present, right? So everything that I make, right, like I hold on to it because I don't know if it's gonna last, right? So I'm right now, I'm currently preparing for our future, like the future might not even be a part of, I'm trying to secure their future, but because I make this choice to actually continue allowing myself to be happy, that we have to sacrifice the present. It's one or the other, dude. I don't make enough to be able to do both, right? So I'm making a choice, and I don't know if the wife is, sometimes I question, like, if she's just like, okay, like, I respect you as, my husband, that, okay, if you think it's worth sacrificing the present and just securing the future, hopefully one day, like, dude, I'll be able to provide both, but right now that's what I'm choosing, dude. And like, I struggle and I struggle with that every day. Like, bro, are you being selfish or not? Like, just go do, the safe thing that, just, do the grind, do whatever it takes, give your kids the home they deserve or whatever. But at the same time, like, bro, I look back at the past 9 years, I'm like, dude, the amount of time I actually got to spend with my kids, like, not a lot of people get to say that, dude. My parents didn't get to say that, because they had to serve and work. It's hard for me to look back and regret my decision, but when does it end, right? Because back then it's like they didn't care about money. All they cared about was me being there. And I can honestly say that for the most part, I was, I'll admit, for the first couple years, bro, like, I could not, like, I tell my wife, like, dude, thank God for photos, because I can see, I look at a photo from when Thomas was like 1 or 2, when I was like full on trying to build this business and try to be a dad, right? And I look at the picture and I'm fucking there. I don't remember, dude. And it's like, that crushes me, dude. It took many years for me to kind of let go, you know what I mean? And understand that, dude, like, because when you are building a business, right, it's kind of like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to sleep, right? Because if I'm sleeping, somebody else is awake, trying to earn my, you know what I mean? Like, those kind of fears and those anxieties, like, when my second was born, they're almost 2 years apart, right? So the second was born, I went full blown, like, nervous breakdown. I've suffered from depression and anxiety before it was even like a thing. I mean, it was always a name for it, but before it became mainstream, and it came back like full blown, like when the second one was born. And that's when I knew, like, I had to make a change, like I was literally, like, useless for probably a few months, dude. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't leave my room, dude. Like, the fear was paralyzing, dude. Thank you for allowing me, dude, to share that, When you were talking to Rubian about, like, your mental health issues don't go away just because you have when I was going through, like, the worst of anxiety and depression, dude, like, in 2008, right, when we went to the Philippines for Exodus, right, when I came back, it hit me hard, right? But I was 25 at that time. I remember I sold my car. I'm pretty sure I quit my job at that point. You know what I mean? I gave everything for this, to be there, dude.
Just to go, yeah.
And when I came back, bro, I was like, now fucking what, dude? Now what do I do? You know what I mean? So that's when, like, I remember the exact day, dude. Like, I was sitting at my desk figuring out, okay, what's next? And it hit me like a ton of bricks, bro. Like, I've never felt fear like that. I remember the wife was working at that time, and this was in the middle of the day, bro. Like, and I went under the sheets, bro, and I could not. I was just bawling, bro, like, my eyes out, and I could not stop it, dude. I called the wife and I said, dude, like, something is up, man, So it started this whole journey of trying to figure out what the cause was, that, and then I don't remember how exactly I got there, but at a certain point, I guess it was my parents that said, I think it's time to seek Tibet.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the one that brought up to me, like, you came back from the Philippines, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, were you careful over? You were.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, you know what, now that I think about it, I don't know how careful I was around the shrine. You know, there's a lot of areas there that were undeveloped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I looked at that point, right? And so he healed me. I mean, I was going back constantly, dude. I was in trouble, bro. But because of that, you know, like, I remember or Atit too looked at me and she was like, yes. And I think my parents took me to Atif first, you know, and she took one look and she said, go see him. So right then I knew, I was like, okay, this is out of my control. This is a spiritual thing.
Something
right?
latched onto you or something. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so then I'm just playing the victim card. You know what I mean? It's not in my control. I can't do anything about it. Like, you know, after he would do his sessions on me, right? And then eventually he passed. Right, and I felt, I mean, I guess I was okay for a while, and then, like, you know, but it would come back, and it came back hard again, right? Like a few years, probably like a year after he passed, you know. When it hits me, bro, like, dude, I'm freaking paralyzed. I can't leave my bed. Might have been a Holy Week or whatever, you know. And then my parents told Ate again, like, dude, and she was like, okay, let Quinilo heal you this time. I was like, dang, man, like. Just like, damn, sucks that I have to bother you guys like this, you know what I mean? But all right, if that's what you want, then go for it, you know. We would do sessions or whatever, and then and it would always creep back up, you know. And then until one day, like, fast forward to when Toby was born, and I was just like, you know what? There's people who have not, like, or are not being attacked by duendes that go through depression. What do they do? You know what I mean? Like, and I was terrified of taking antidepressants, you know? And I'm so glad, like, I that's the first time I kind of learned about, like, holistic, like, you know, Eastern. And it sent me down this journey. So I was like, okay, let me just try some of these, like, these things that they use to battle, you know, that are natural. After that, dude, and I started, like, really making progress, bro, like, it sucks, but I really started to question, like, you know, like, because I know people who are depressed right now. We know people who are depressed right now that are just like, pray. It's more prayers, dude. It's more prayers, like, you know. But when I stopped trying to fix a real physical, biological problem with just spirituality, it actually worked. You know, like, and now. Fast forward, you know, Toby is 7 years old, you know, and I finally got to a point probably like 2 years ago, after battling it for years, that I have a system, you know, like, it's never really gone, you know, I live with it every day.
You
but
manage it, yeah.
Yeah, but there's actually ways to manage it. And
just enough to function.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jeez, dude.
Our daily worries about, you know, being a provider, and, you know, and I'm battling this, and I'm just like, dude, can I even hold down a job? You know what I mean? Like, right now, like, I honestly, I know that with how I run, or how I'm able to run the business, if I fell into another, you know, state of depression, I was at least, like, I would still have, you know what I mean? Like, I would still have an option. I would still have a job, right? Because it's my business, right? Like, you know, but if I went back to work and I had, you know what I mean, and I was able to provide, like, I live in this constant state of fear that, dude, like, if I hit depression, but now we have a house, now we have this and we have that, you know, because lifestyle creep, right? Like, we all tend, like, the more we make money, it's like we tend to just up our lifestyle. That fear holds me back, like, so much, bro. So it's like, even though the business that I'm running right now, like, I don't even know if I can call it business, because I don't have any employees, you know, but it's my own operation. Yeah. It's enough to keep us comfortable right now. You know, we don't want for things, like, we have everything that we absolutely need, right? But the wants and like the struggles of keeping up with your friends who have those things, you know, that's what forced me to kill my ego. Because if I just force myself to not want those things, then a lot of the pressure is hot.
Sure. Yeah.
Then again, like I can't speak for the wife.
Mm-hmm.
She has a whole another set of like, you know, dreams and whatnot. I don't know if it's fair for me to push my, you know, or am I just doing that as a cop out or as an excuse? Dude, fear has been holding me back for fucking years, bro. Like, you know, a lot of people can say like, oh damn, like you quit your job with no plan 3 months into marriage. Like, dude, like you, sir, are like fucking brave. Or am I the exact opposite by not doing the right thing? What is the right thing, bro? Like, I'm not asking, I'm not asking you directly, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, those are the kind of like real issues that
it goes through your head, man.
That goes through my head, absolutely.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Jeez,
you know, like, because they're at the age where it's just like, there are certain things that they're starting to like, or they picture, you know, they're gonna get to the age where they might want their own rooms, like, you know.
Because they have friends that have different lifestyles.
Right.
And, yeah. Like, why don't we have this, you know?
That, when the day, and I know it's coming, you know, but the day he asks me that, or one of my boys asks me that, it's gonna crush.
Dude.
It's gonna crush me, and I have to prepare my heart. You know what I mean, and my pride and ego. You know what I mean, like, because I honestly don't know if I did the right thing or not. You know, like, I appreciate my wife for not for just staying kind of neutral and trusting me. You know, and I hope things work out, bro. Like, but I don't know, and I'm not getting any younger. That's what I know for damn sure.
Yeah.
You know, and they're only getting older. You know.
Jeez, dude.
You know, again, I appreciate like you letting me tell that story. I know it's not like podcast worthy. Like it's hard. Like it's too.
Believe it or not, it actually is. I think the hard part is there's no answer, bro. It's a constant thing, and we're all balancing. And I think this is just a perfect example of, dude, once you have kids and you have more writing on your life, dude, it's gonna expose more of your flaws. Because now you are forced to live for more than you. When it was just living like for ourselves, it's almost like, I can like take this day off. Easy. Yeah. I mean, I remember doing that. Like, I don't feel like going to work today, honestly. Like, that's my little entitled ass, right? Like, I feel like going to work today. Cool. And I'll just take a day off. And that's what people do now. But then when you have to work, not because your boss needs you to show up. No, it's, if I don't, think about like the food on the table. Think about like what my kids need, whatever. Like, you're living for something bigger than you now. So that's just going to expose our weaknesses even more. The question is how can you stay on top of it, dude? Like, when you go through those phases, like I can't even imagine being debilitated like that. I mean, I don't wish that upon anybody, man. When that happens, and with kids, I don't know how,
dude, I felt
that
like
battle is, man.
I mean, she literally was just, I mean, this was like Toby, when the last one really hit, dude, Toby was fucking weeks old, bro. So she's still recovering, and I was completely useless, dude.
Wow.
Bro, like,
I mean, that alone, like, it's the perfect example of when a woman sees a man that she trusts. Dude, I truly believe that, like, once she finds a guy, like, no matter the circumstances, if she sees something in a guy that, like, it's almost like she buys into your mission, like, that's exactly what she sounds like to me, man. Like, she saw, I mean, dude, how many chances did she give you, right? Yeah. But it's almost like she bought into the mission. So whatever circumstances you're in right now, it's almost like she understands, and she hasn't left, dude. Like, to me, I know I truly believe at some point, like, even if you don't even feel like it, I'm sure that part of her knows, like, you're doing your best at with what you have, and it's not even like a time to give back to her. Speaking from like any relationship standpoint, she already bought into your mission, man. And if it didn't happen already, like, I mean, I would say that, dude, she's been through the wars with you.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many times have we heard, like, especially recently, where, like, you know, people are close to us and then it doesn't work out
Yeah.
because they gave them that time frame.
Hmm.
And I think I think it's more than the kids. I think it's more than that. It's more of like, let's be real, dude. A woman wouldn't give two shits about us if they didn't really love you, right?
Right.
And if they didn't trust you and know you as the guy that is going to come out of it at some point. Now the task is for us, not when is it going to happen, but are we working at it every day? And I think they feel that. I think they feel that from us. If you're working at something, even if you're against all odds, like it's there, but you're scratching yourself to the surface to even peek out a little bit, I have to believe that our wives see it, dude. And to have them hold down the fort when we're going through our shit, you know, that's, to me, the strength of a woman, dude. I mean, logically, like, a guy would just be like, yeah, bye. I'm leaving, dude. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Things don't have to make sense sometimes when you actually have the right one and make it work.
Mm.
You know, like, even, you know, in my family and stuff, like, I'm working at making us fulfill the purpose that we have as a family. Nothing's promised, nothing. But it's showing up every day, knowing that we're focused on a mission together,
Yeah.
even if the things aren't the best circumstances right now. Dude, we have those dreams. Like, we have, like, we want to have this type of place. We want to go to these places, have our children experience shit. Like, it's okay to have ambition for that. But again, the reality of, like, me and her talking, it's like, fuck, I don't know if I can make it happen.
Mm.
But I'm going to fucking try. If I die on the way to this,
Yeah.
you guys go on that vacation without me.
Mm.
It's dark. But what then am I supposed to, like, use it as an excuse? And I think that's the hard part, like, with mental health, is that you can swing too far and have it as an excuse to not perform.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen too often, where, like, you know, it wasn't mainstream before. So when someone was going through something, it was like, oh, dude, like, they're going through something, like, leave them alone. So there was a stigma about that.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, now we're fighting to break that stigma of, like, no, mental health, you know, should be brought in and help people through it. It's more than spirituality. It's more than, like, you know, like the prayers. There's actual, like, scientific things we could do.
Right.
And then now, if I want to be honest, I think it's swinging too far, where it's like, we broke the stigma, but then now everybody's got mental health issues.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, hey, go easy on me, man, because, you know, or, like, let me through because I have a mental health problem. We've gone too far, where, I mean, I you know, I know people say, like, mental health is, like, it's almost like it's a gift for some people, because you see things a certain way, or you appreciate life differently because of that darkness that you go through.
Absolutely.
So you do have a perspective that even I can't even understand. But you telling me that you were debilitated to that point and you're still here in front of me being, you know, able to tell that story. I mean, dude, if you ask me, man, like, you put it to use. I feel like you put it to use because you see things from that perspective. I have to force myself into darkness sometimes to get me the results that I have. And that's not for everybody. Some people maybe even forged in darkness already. So that's why, like, we can, you know, talk like this. We have totally different paths. But yet, isn't the goal the same? To be our best version for our families, for our wives, for our kids. And maybe not make all their dreams come true. Like, you know, I think we have to let go. As a dad, I'm like, I want to fulfill all the dreams of my kids.
Yeah.
Of course. The element of reality in that, it's like, maybe I won't. But on my way there, is it possible to, you know, maybe accomplish some of them? On my way to trying on that,
Yeah.
you know, like, and maybe that's all we're called to do.
Yeah.
But, like, the partnership of you and your wife, it's like, dude, if someone's going through something, we're all picking up after each other. And I think that's why when they separate, this is what the dad does, this is what the mom does. Like, it's not in a sense of we're not it's not like don't help each other out. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this one mission together. And dude, if you have that one mission as a family, that's why I believe you're the living testament that the family, like the nuclear family, with everybody part of it, mom, dad, and the kids, that is the most powerful unit, dude. Like, because of your wife, because of your kids, you're still here. And see, like, when they take us away from that, that's when things fall apart. You know, and who knows, man, like in the future, like when broken families happen, you don't know what kids go through and how they understand things.
Right.
But if you're still showing up and we still show up, you're going to be that example. And maybe when you have a conversation with your kids later on in the future and you do explain that to them, or they even hear this, you know, they're going to think like, oh, shoot, like dad went through all that. And here I am, like, complaining about my life. Like, look how good we made it because of, like, under those circumstances, yo. Like, no story's ending right now, right? Obviously. I truly think mental health is, like, something definitely be respect. We got to respect it, dude. But there's so much more that I feel like when you overcome it and you learn how to manage it the way you are, like, functioning with it, dude, no, if someone hasn't felt that and then like you put them through that, like, dude, they won't know how to handle it. It's I mean, it's a blessing to be able to work in mental health, to see like the people that come out of it, or at least learn how to manage it. And those are fucking strong people, dude. And I respect it. When you have people that don't necessarily have it as bad as others, and then they use that as kind of like, hey man, go easy on me. And like,
there's no way to really know though, right?
True,
like,
because it's hard. Like, you can't judge that either. but like, I'll say, like, you'll see some people and be like, you know, I'm anxious right now, man. Like, you know, okay, well, I've seen people anxious. I've seen people depressed, and it's like, it feels like your whole life is crumbled. Like, there's no way out. It's like a hole. That's what they explained it to me. And it has to be, and I think that's what you were pointing out. It's like a multi-angled attack, dude.
Well, but yeah, being anxious and having anxiety, to me, are two different things, right?
Yeah.
To me, like, I mean, I haven't been like clinically like diagnosed, you know what I mean? But I get these moments like randomly throughout the day, like it'll hit whenever it feels like, you know, but it's like that moment right before you're about to get into a car accident. You know, like when you see it coming, and you know that feeling in your gut,
sympathetic like response, like nervousness. Just
like, dude, it's like just all day sometimes. You know what I mean? Like in simple tasks, like, you know, like in the worst days are just like in the morning, right? Like just, as soon as my eyes open, damn, my brain is so loud, bro. You know, like, and it just doesn't shut off, but yet, you know, as soon as I wake up, there's already tasks that need to be done, you know? Breakfast for the kids, packing their lunch, making sure their homework's in their backpack. Then I gotta take them school, you know, and bro, having to get up every day, dude, like that, and try to silence all the noise in my head and try to be a good dad, bro. Like, sometimes it's just too much, man. Like,
the world doesn't wait for us, dude. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
The world won't wait for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, where when it's like a dad or like a male having mental health problems, no one gives a shit, dude. It's like they want you to show up regardless, dude.
Yeah.
And they make you feel weak because you have something, like you're dealing with something. And I don't know, that's probably part of the stigma, but it's almost like, dude, as a man, they just expect you to be there. Like, show up, dude. Like, why are you, whatever they say, like bitching out or whatever, right?
I say depression is a luxury.
it's an entitled man's problem.
Yeah.
That's what they. Yeah.
And that's why I've been quiet for so long about it, especially to like, dude, like I got, just a sidebar, I got like, there was this trip to Jerusalem recently.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I put my deposit down like months, like maybe 2 months before it was actually scheduled, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I put that deposit down, instantly anxiety,
Oh.
right? Dude, like my kids, for the most part, like they're just typical kids. They're not overly hyper. They're not, you know what I mean? Like they're really normal kids, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable leaving them with anybody, even my parents, or even like, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it is the anxiety or depression, but I have this big thing with just not burdening people. You know, and it's like, how could you burden? Those are their grandkids. How can you burden them?
Sure.
You know, but it's an insecurity that if they do become like, I don't know, they just get too crazy at my in-laws' house or whatever, you know, and they break something, or my in-laws have to like tell them to just calm down. I don't know why, but I feel like that's a reflection on my parenting, you know what I mean?
No, that's definitely something. Yeah, like I feel that too.
Okay.
I mean, maybe like you do feel like an element like above that. I don't know, but that's part of the anxiety I get too. Like leaving the kids with somebody.
Okay.
Like it's a reflection on us. Like you almost feel embarrassed that like, you know, so like only we know how to take care of them. Like you know, what if they don't listen to somebody else? I feel that too.
Okay.
I feel that too, man.
So I mean, like that.
Damn.
That having to leave them for 10 days with, you know, my in-laws, I'm just like, that created anxiety, right? And obviously like having to pay for this trip added a level of anxiety, right?
Yeah.
All the work I'm gonna be missing out on that day, right? So it just kept building and building, right? And then eventually I decided like that I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna go, dude. Right.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to tell my dad, because he knew right away, you know, because obviously the list is updated and my name is not on the list anymore. And he was like, "What's up?" And then I was like, "No, I just can't go. Like I have, it's causing me anxiety." And the look he gave, dude, like the look he gave me was kind of like, what the heck do you have to be anxious about? You know what I mean? And I was like, man, you know, that brought back so many like of, you know, the past traumas or whatever, you know what I mean? And dude, like my anger, I didn't say anything. I kind of held, you know, I didn't say anything because there's nothing I could have said that would make them understand, that generation understand.
Yeah, they don't see it the same way. Yeah.
So I didn't say nothing, man. I was just like, it is what it is, you know, but wow, talk about like not, you know what I mean? Your feelings being like not validated. Like, dude, that even as a grown ass man, like he you know what I mean? He made me feel like hella like, that one, that was tough. But I made that decision, dude. Like, and do I regret it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, like, I could have gone on that trip, and what if it was just the worst?
True.
Because I couldn't be present there.
Yeah, you weren't even there.
Yeah.
But you were there. Yeah. That would be even worse, I think. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Like, that's the thing. You can't blame anybody doing the best they can in that moment, dude. Like, that's the thing. We had to stop judging each other on like, oh, like, you really not gonna go? Like, are you really not gonna do this? Or you can't do that? Like, what do you mean? Empathy, man.
Oh, there's an empathy.
Empathy. Like, that's
and that's another reason why I realized like not a lot of people have it, because every single person is like, what's your problem, man? You know what I mean? Like,
well, like, there's even people I hear like with depression, they're kind of like, oh, you just like when they're going through their moment, like, just, you know, like they tickle them like to get them to laugh, and it's like, yo, it's not like that. Like,
Yeah.
what the?
Yeah. I mean, like if my girl like broke up with me or something like that, and that's a form of like depression, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe you know
yeah.
what I mean. But like, bro, like the hardest thing about my depression, it's like okay, obviously, like I feel it in my body, I feel it in my mind. There's something wrong. And I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. I can feel it. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, let me go through the entire checklist of my life. I'm like, no, that's good. That's cool. Nothing wrong there. Bro, what the fuck do you feel like this for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even if I tell myself that, dude, like, it's there.
It's
the
there.
feeling is there, bro,
there.
and I can't shake it. And that's the most frustrating thing. It's like, dude, there's something wrong, but I do not have any idea what it is. It's frustrating, bro. Like,
Damn. I have a question about it. Let me use the restroom real quick, though. Is
oh,
it cool?
please,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Please.
We're all going through it together, and we just don't know it unless we talk about it. You know, especially like with like our crew, right? Like a lot of guys, they look up to you, like Mark and Neems and them. And for me, it's if we don't have these moments to just talk and evaluate life all together, it's like, why are we here, dude? Because it's lonely. Being a dad, I'll be honest, dude, it's lonely. Especially if maybe a lot of your family or friends aren't, like, they don't have a family either.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them don't relate to your problems, you know. So I'm telling you, man, like sometimes these podcasts are just like therapy sessions for anybody, for me and for everybody else that's on it, dude.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we recorded and it's like, hey, I don't think that can make the pod. Dude, it doesn't matter. I have so many, dude, I think me and my brother have we have like 2 or 3 like fully like 2-hour recordings, and we couldn't use any of it. But I mean, even if, I guarantee you in the last like freaking 4 hours, man, I feel like there's gonna be a lot. There's gonna
honestly,
be a lot,
it was my worst fear, bro.
What?
Like what's happening right now is absolutely my worst fear. It's the worst, like as far as what I feel like your pod deserves, to be honest. And I'm just speaking. Like I feel like this is the worst that it could happen. Not for me personally, because I'm getting a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But I listened to your pod with Rubian especially, and the way it flowed was so like, dude, like it's almost like it was like scripted, you know what I mean? But maybe it's because both of you guys are teachers. That's not fair. You know what I mean? Like me, I am never mic'd up and I'm never in front of the camera.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it did, like I mentioned it, like, dude, it changed the minute, like, and just watching that, it's changing me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in my head as far as like, dude, I know what I want to say, but I have to make sure it comes out almost perfect. Like I don't know. That's just my insecurity.
No, you know what?
You know?
I think I feel that too. And I think everybody that comes on feels that. But then again, it's like
You seem
Dude.
pretty damn comfortable.
Well, well, if I'm gonna be honest, dude, like, obviously being a teacher, like a nurse and a teacher, like actually helped a lot with like dealing, like interacting, right? Dude, the podcast alone, nah, man, not even. I came in here like not even knowing where we're gonna go with it, and I try not to know too much. I try not to structure it too much, because at that point it doesn't feel flowy. That's why I want to flow.
Yeah.
And trust me when I say, like, it's not like, oh, like it's not gonna make the pod or whatever. Honestly, man, I know for damn sure things that we talked about, and aside from like any personal things that you might not want to, that's completely fine. Anything that we related it back to being like who we are as dads, as husbands, and just as men in general. Like when we're dealing with shit, we don't get this opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we're told to just, no, dude, just no one wants to hear your problems. Just keep moving. And there is some I would say that there's some effective thing with that kind of mentality, but you have to have moments of whatever it is, reflecting.
Yeah.
You have to have moments of reassessing yourself, because it's not okay. It's not easy. And I think that's why, like when I say I miss the guys getting together,
Yeah.
it's for this, because like whatever I'm going through, I'm sure someone in the room has gone through it, or they understand. You know, so like when I talk to like Mark and them, it's just like, yeah, dude, because they're all like young dads like me, like we have young kids, and then I talk to you guys, and you guys have like older kids,
Mm-hmm.
and also on top of all that, you're dealing with your personal issues too, like just like me. So then I ask myself, you know, like, how much more can I learn, man? And I think that was the one question is, you know, people go through things worse than me. And I know there's days where I feel like, well, I'm not feeling it today. So I'm just like literally going to do the minimum. Or I'm on daddy duty and I don't feel right. I feel like, all right, like I have so much shit to do.
Yeah.
But then you feel like you're trapped because like you're taking care of them, and then like an hour goes by, and then like it's time to eat, and then an hour goes by, and then she needs to take a nap. So then as a guy who's like, you can be a workhorse when you're in that mode. You can work a whole event behind the camera, like,
Yeah.
and it'll go by and you got that energy for it. And then when you're on daddy duty, it's like everything stops. And that's like one of the hardest things I had to learn. I'm still learning it right now. I'm still dealing with it. But like when I'm on daddy duty, to learn how to just let go of things that I should be doing,
Yeah.
or things that I wanted to get done,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't get to it. Dude, that's one of the hardest things I had to grasp.
Absolutely, man. Like,
And I know I might feel like a mild version of it, but I'm not, you know, again, like I'm not saying like I have depression as bad as other people or whatever. But when you feel that down feeling, even if there's nothing wrong, right? There is a biological thing. There's like, you know, science can argue that it's like neurotransmission and serotonin, dopamine, all that stuff, right? I genuinely feel it. Like I feel that there's like a dip in that when you don't, whatever it is, fulfill or accomplish like a goal that you shot for like that day. Like you just have to like, all right, it didn't get done.
yeah.
And if I'm so hard on myself, it does get to the point of like, oh man, like I feel like a piece of shit because I'm such a bitch for not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can get it done. Or you think of a guy like Goggins. Like if Goggins was in this moment, like he can get all this done and get the emails done and do that.
Again, he doesn't have kids, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the mentality of it, because like you go hard so much, I had to learn, dude. I was forced to learn to let go.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be okay. Like that's the hardest part. It's like in my head, I'm always like, well, I could have done more. I could have done more though. And then using it as an excuse, well, I mean, I have kids, so it's okay. Like I'm trying to find that balance, dude. Like I don't know. Now, when you have somebody who's like, when you're saying you're really debilitated though, and you said your second son was like a few weeks. Dude, like, how did you come? Wait, was that when you were getting those like, you know, like treatments or like, you know, the Helo kind of thing from?
That was that was after Dave. So after that happened, then it was Kunil.
What were they doing though? Like was it like the blowing, like the thing?
Yeah.
Do you generally feel like it helped? Honestly,
man, like it could have been a placebo. You know, like genuinely, what if, you know what I mean? Like, what if it was never? And I hate to say that, dude, you know what I mean? What if it was never a spiritual thing? Like, what if if I really looked at my lifestyle at 25, bro, you know, I sleep whenever I want. My diet was like ultra processed food. Like I was eating like
it probably
pizza bagels and you know, and Tyson chicken nuggets and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because I was broke, you know what I mean? And I didn't know how to cook then. You know, even though like I was grown, I should have, but like I just health, like physical health, was just not a thing, and I think it might have just caught up to me.
Yeah, because when we're like in our young 20s, dude, like you can eat whatever and still feel amazing.
Yeah,
It does catch up to you probably. Like,
I was at 20. I was 20,
20,
like 25-ish. You know, when I first started.
how did you like? So you're saying that was like the last like big, or no, Exodus was the last big. Oh no, yeah.
It was it was no, Exodus is like when it started.
That's when
That's when I first, you know, and then throughout the years there's been so that Exodus 2008, and then Toby was born 2015.
And that was like the last like big.
That
episode?
was that's when I really like, all right,
Well,
I gotta find a way to fix
okay.
this shit. Yeah.
What was it? How did you get out of it then?
So the first I learned that certain foods can really trigger them. You know, I just tried to search my triggers, you know, what my triggers were, you know, so
Like a pattern, like I felt this way this day. What did I eat the days leading up to it?
Yeah, I started doing elimination diets, you know.
Nice.
Wow. And then like something as simple as vitamins, you know. What was I lacking in vitamins, you know?
Yeah.
Vitamin D, something as simple as that. You know, how much sun am I getting throughout the day? How much water am I freaking drinking? You know, like am I practicing stillness? You know, or am I just go throughout my day and I just allow my thoughts to just run wild? Like, dude, like how often are you getting control over that? And so and by that time, 2014, 15, like, I mean, there is plenty of resources, free resources, you know? It's just like, damn, man, we have so much information out here. And it's like, dude, how many of us really take advantage of this shit on our phone? I mean, on our phone, we have answers to every question.
Yeah.
And yet, like, what do we spend most of our time doing on our phone, right? Such a waste, dude. So when I was more, I guess that's when I learned, like, mindfulness, you know?
Mindfulness, yeah.
And so now, every day, like, I just have this checklist of, like, 10 things, you know? If I'm feeling off, I start going through my checklist, you know? Start your day with a walk. You know, clear your mind a little bit. You know, learn something about my faith, whatever, you know? Get some sun, drink water, take some magnesium, you know, zinc, all that. And if I do all of those things and I still feel off, then I can really start exploring, you know, maybe it is really something else.
It's like an anchor, like as a foundation, like if you do all these things, it's manageable.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So.
Daily walks and everything.
Yeah, it's daily. It spiked again just recently, and I'll tell you a little story.
Yeah.
So, again, the wife and I were debating, you know, or not debating, but really asking ourselves. We're 39, so, you know, for at least 3 or 4 years, like after Toby, you know, like it's just we never really had that conversation. Are we done or not? But I just assumed, like, dude, we're 39. You know what I mean? We're done, right? So out of nowhere, dude, like for like 6 years, like she didn't say anything. The wife didn't say anything. You know, with me, I'm just like, if people ask me, I'd say I'm done, but I can't make the decision on my own.
Of course.
Right? But I guess maybe I was scared to really ask her because I didn't know. But randomly, like, just one day out of the blue, she's like, I don't think I'm done. I was like,
oh shit.
Shoot. All right. I was like, oh damn, we're old as hell already. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess I was just like, all right, let's try then. You know what I mean? I was just thinking about the part where we get to try. You know what I mean? But then, like, so I'll say, like, honestly, like, probably within the last year and a half, right? Like, we were kind of like not actively trying, like timing it or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
scheduling.
but it's just like, hey, let's just try. If it happens, it happens, right? And it wasn't, right? So I'm like, dude, see, I'm just too old, man. Like, I'm too old. Like, whatever, it's just not working. I mean, it works, but you know what I mean? Like, homies are not swimming, or like, you know, then I was like, oh no, the vaccine made me sterile, all these things, right? I'm just like, yeah, right? Yeah. So then she's like, okay, well, the boys are asking for a dog. If you're not gonna have a kid, can we get a dog? And I was like, I guess, dude, you know, I don't particularly care for them, you know, but it's like the things we do for our kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so we're is it gonna work for us? You know what I mean? Can it, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of put a pin on it, right? Because I was trying to explain to them, like, it's one thing to explain to them, like, bro, that's a lot of responsibility, you know, and I'll pay for the dog, but I ain't doing nothing else. That's on you guys.
Yeah, you guys wanted the dog, right?
You know,
so.
yeah, right. So, but it's one thing to just tell them, but they're kids, right? It's another thing to have to, you know, to be able to show them. So anyways, you know, Christmas is coming and I'm just like, all right, guys, give me your list or whatever. It's like, we don't want nothing. All we want is this puppy. And I was like, come on, you're going to do that to me, bro? You know? And I was like, for real, like laptop, like something. And he was like, no, you know what? We kind of learned that, you know, these material things like, or toys, like we get bored after a while, you know? Like, I was like, who are these fools? You know what I mean? Anyway, so we find a dog that they want. We find a breeder, right? In Vegas, right? So this is a few days before Christmas. So we pack into the car and, you know, wake them up really early. They don't know where we're going, you know? Nice. So we're driving. And then as we're driving, you know, the wife goes like, oh, I'm not feeling too well. And I was like, oh, damn, what'd you eat? You know? And she's like, I don't know, nothing. And I was like, okay. And then we just keep going, right? And then, so we pick up the dog, we come back, you know. And the next day, she goes like, hey, any of that feeling, you know, that I had in my stomach, like it's not going away. I was like, oh shit, okay. I wasn't connecting the dots, right? And then it hit me out of nowhere, right? A week and a half, maybe 2 weeks prior to that day that we picked up the dog, she came home from work one day and she was just like, hey, you have a recipe for like macaroni and cheese? And then I was like, she's like, oh no, baked macaroni and cheese. And I was like, when the hell do you only eat Filipino food. When do you ever crave that?
Oh shoot, yeah.
And I was like, you remember when you asked me about that? I was like, what? And then we both kind of realized it, you know, like, uh-oh. So, you know, like in the movies, you see me at the store, I'm just basket, I'm just grabbing all the tests,
all
bro.
the tests, yeah.
Sure enough, dude.
Are you serious, bro? Dude.
Sure enough.
Oh, dude, congrats, man. Holy crap.
Hey.
Holy crap.
Breaking news, dude. Like, nobody, like...
oh, shoot.
So now I'm, like, we have to be careful. Cause there's going to be people that are going to be butthurt that they find out through this.
No, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to even include it.
Okay, fine.
Well, holy crap.
But...
This was at Christmas, like around Christmas time, New Year.
Yeah. So
we're keeping the dog though?
that was my first, like before I even hugged her, and I was like, you know, we can't keep the dog, right? And she was like, who's gonna break it to the boys? I'm like, you know what, let's get through the holidays first before we break their heart, you know, because they're obviously already like, and
wow, bro.
So I can say that, you know, it kind of spiked a little bit.
It did.
Anxiety. But you know, once I got out of that, I was just like, you know what? I think we're pretty blessed to at least even have another opportunity at this age, you know?
Yeah.
Because
that alone is a blessing, dude.
Yeah, as long as the baby's healthy, you know? But like when you mentioned, you know, after your first or going to the second, I'm like, oh, we've been here before, you know? No. Like, shit, bro, like, I haven't been here. Because even now, bro, like, I figured, you know, before I knew how bad it was gonna get, I was just like, oh, I think this one will be a breeze, you know. This is your third, dude. Like, you're not a stranger to this, you know. But she was just
Sure.
like, dude, this feels like the first one, because the first one, like, when it's all new, everything's all like, you know, heightened. Like, she gets
Yeah.
really sick, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like really, just it's almost like it's like not like would you rather just be throwing up all day rather than like it's just nausea all day, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's no relief.
That's
And
true. Yeah.
bro, like I'm really trying to practice empathy with that, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like I have no idea what she's going through, but now it's like, all right, now I'm picking up the slack for sure, you know, because that's our daily life, you know. It's like the mornings are tough, nights are tough, like, you know. So I'm like, I really have, this is where I have to really prove what I'm freaking made of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and
Dude, like just thinking about like our second one right now, like from everything, from the pregnancy, like leading up to this one.
yeah,
Dude, honestly, I'm glad we're at a place now. Like she's almost 6 months now, so I'm like, we're out of that like newborn
Yeah,
freaking
yeah.
like everything is just a blur, dude.
for sure.
So, dude, like I just thinking about it now because like we're through it. I remember like one of our friends told us that like they were expecting like recently, and he's just like, man, I'm not looking forward to that newborn phase or like the pregnancy to newborn phase, man. I'm like, dude, yeah, like just getting through it now.
Yeah,
Like I look back at the past 6 months, and I'm like, it's a blur, dude. Where did the time go? And it was one of those because, you know, again, you have a toddler and then you have a newborn. Even to like right now, like I'm still finally coming back, but your day is gone. Like I don't know. Sometimes nothing happens in the day, like nothing.
yeah,
But again, it's the challenge of just like accepting that it's okay. Like this is the crazy thing that like we have to go through, like to balance like killing yourself, working hard,
yeah,
and then just letting things go and do nothing. Dude, it's one of the biggest challenges I ever had to deal with, man.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could do more,
yeah.
but then like I can't.
right.
And then I found it even harder this time to deal with just I don't know, I guess it's anxiety. I don't know. I still can't pinpoint what exactly it is, but this time around our baby Lily, she cries. She's a crier. And dude, I don't know what it was, but this time around I don't know, it was like tough for me to deal with a lot of the crying. It was like
Oof, yeah.
like what do I do? Like
Yeah.
it's almost like a feeling of anxiety, I guess, where you're like shit, like what do I do? Like I don't know what to do anymore. Like is something hurting her? Is something like should we bring her to the doctor?
Yeah.
And like I guess it's one of those things where it was heightened the second time around. I don't know. I've been working a lot like, you know, for me, like men's health, whatever, like testosterone and stuff lately. So then when she was born and like she was crying so much, like I felt like I didn't know what to do with the crying. And like me and Gracie were talking about, I was like, dude, I think there's this weird difference like between men and women. But like when like she's crying, I feel like this like not anger, but it's like I don't know what to do. I just want to like bang my head against the wall. Like
Yeah.
I told her, like I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not like in whatever in the hospital, like crazy people, whatever, like bang their head against the wall or whatever. It's more of like shit. Like is someone getting hurt? Like it feel like that feeling. So many things were different this time around, and I was like, okay, it's we have been here before, but not like this.
Yeah.
And every kid was different. I'm sure you felt the same thing with the second one versus the first one, right? Like it was
Absolutely.
different.
Like dude, guys, like it's funny because I was sharing with, or when I was talking to like Camila and Christoph, you know,
Oh yeah.
it's like with dads, dude, like some of us, I mean, not all the time, but sometimes it's just like she gets frustrated when it's like, all right, she's at home, you know, with the baby all day, okay, and he's out working or whatever. He comes home, you know, and it's like that is really like when you come home or when she comes home or whatever, like, dude, those first 2 minutes are very crucial, right? Because you could, most of the time we're just like, well, hey, I worked my ass off all day, like, and that, you know what I mean? And you're just gonna throw the baby at me, you know, and be like, it's your turn.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you don't practice that empathy, you can be like, well, dude, you're just home all day. What are you complaining about? Like, I was the one that was out there fucking grinding.
Yeah.
You know, but if you think about it, like, bro, like, I never, like, I was at, well, actually, both of the kids, like, I was never really alone with her, like, for a long time. You know what I mean? So, like, I didn't understand how hard it was, you know, like, but when the wife went back to work, like, a few months after, like, and it was the first time I had to be alone with the kid for like 8 hours. Like, I was terrified, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't wait.
No joke, when it's just you and them.
And then I remember the same thing. The minute she got home, I was just like, dude, I'm not doing it. You know, but it's like
finally you're home, dude. Here.
And then it's like, so she'll be like, okay, take the kid. Let me just breathe. Let me like just take a shower or something like that, right? Like, I can't go anywhere, but so let me just take a shower. At least I'll be away, you know? And then she gets out of the shower and the baby's just like sitting right there. You know what I mean? She's like, dude, you couldn't even just, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know what it is about guys, but I caught myself doing that a lot too. It's just like, I would hold. And then as soon as she's like quiet, I'm trying to put her down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, what is it about? I don't know if it's like, it's not I don't know if it's impatience or like.
It's part of it, I think.
Maybe.
That's the thing. I think moms have this innate thing where like it doesn't bother them as much, dude. Like I mean, clearly they carry them for 9 months. Like they have so much more patience than us.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, like when you get that feeling of like I don't know what you want, dude. Like,
dude.
And again, like not aggressive to the kid, but it's almost like I don't know what else to do. Like,
well, especially when, you know, like Mela right now, she can tell you.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Communicates
and then you have to go back to this one who, you know what I mean? It's like once you get used to like them being able to communicate, like, dude, your life just like, you know, there's a big weight off your shoulders because especially the first kid, you know, you're just like, dude, it's all new, right? Like, but after after the first one can talk and then you have this other one that you have to go back to that.
Yeah.
It's like, dang. Dude.
It was, and obviously it's not like, oh, damn it. It's more of like, okay, it's going to be a whole different mental prep again, you know, cycling back. And it's been a long time, like, you know, at least over a year of like all this like pregnancy to the birth and stuff. Yeah. And then luckily Mela is at this good age where she did mature enough that she's independent for some things and she's helpful. Yeah. That was like one of the biggest blessings. So, and it's almost like after with the first kid, it's just you and the kid and daddy duty. And then now like with Mela, she's like kind of my helper. She's like my little assistant. That's awesome, yeah. And she loves her. Like you can tell she's so affectionate. That definitely helped. And I think that's why it was like a blessing, like whatever their age gap was and stuff. I'm just so glad, dude. Like this second time around, I learned so much more. And we're going to take a little break.
Yeah.
It's funny because when Lily was maybe like 2-3 months, like that first 2 months, dude, it was rough. And it's funny because me and Gracie recorded our episode 28, like when Lily was like roughly 2 months. And then after that podcast episode, like something hit her and she just like opened up. She's like, yeah, I'm not feeling good right now, like about everything. Like she's like, she was going through this lull, and I know, you know, the baby blues and all that stuff. It happens. Yeah. It clearly wasn't as bad as like postpartum depression or anything. Okay. But she was definitely feeling that like lack of like affection at some point with Mela and the baby, and it was kind of like, yeah, like something's wrong. Like I don't know. Wow. We had like that deep talk after the podcast that we recorded. Yeah. So that's why a lot of the questions I had for Ruby Ann was because of the talk I had with Gracie, and it was like exploring, because I know like with Ruby Ann's story, it was almost like they do go through this phase of like hormone imbalance or whatever, and then the question is like, what can we do to help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know RJ that closely, right? But he did seem like this guy that just had it all together. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, he's like all fun and games, man. Yeah. But I was like, it can't be that easy, bro. Like, it can't be. Because that's where my head was when I was interviewing Ruby Ann. And I was like, what was it about him? And that's when she said it's as simple as showing up. I was like, really? Like, is that it? because, you know, as a guy, it's like, we talked about this whole time, like earning respect and then showing up and like, you know, showing a good example, having integrity, all that stuff. And then the simplest thing is just be there. And it's a weird thing to feel out what the right moments are. Because, you know, like we're working, like I'm working more. So when I am home, like it really counts. So like prepping even on the way home or like taking a half day here and there, like feeling it out. It's like you got to read the room, the temperature of the room. Like what, like, do I need to be home more, or like who needs my attention?
Yeah.
Like my wife or my kids, all of us together. Should we gather and all do something together, or are they good right now and I can work on something? It's a constant battle, dude. And there's never a right answer. It's almost like we have to have this extra sense of where's everyone at. And that to me is like, it's the constant battle of, I would argue, a very subjectively a good father, you know, because you don't want to be the dad that doesn't get anything done, but you can't be the dad that doesn't show up. And so it's like, who the hell are we supposed to be then, right? Like there's no answer in every moment. And but again, that's the beautiful thing. Like, I don't know how else to look at it. Like, you put a guy like me in a situation like this. Like, this is how I'm going to look at it. Like, you know, I always told myself, like, if I was ever blessed enough to have kids, it was way easier said than done. I was like, I'm going to be, like, the fucking best dad ever. Like, whatever. And then reality sets in. And then the day-to-day, you're like, holy shit. It was more than I signed up for one. I think that helped me get more respect for parenthood, like for parents. That like, dude, our parents dealt with us like this, you know, even under harder circumstances, probably, you know, like with our generation, we kind of have a sense of like taking care of ourselves mentally and physically, whatever. And then back then when they never talked about mental health the way we do, they're probably going through the same thing, just thinking like, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, or maybe, I don't know, I'm sure it existed to a certain point, but who knows, you know what I mean? Like,
was it defined, you know? Like,
yeah, was it defined, or is it, you know, like, was maybe it's because food was real back then, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, or maybe it really is social media or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, maybe things are just simpler, or maybe, you know, it was, the economy wasn't so jacked up back then, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you could work at Target and buy a house, dude, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, like, sometimes I wonder, like, damn, are we really too hard on ourselves? You know what I mean? Like, we really are, like, living through, like, a really difficult time in the economy and in history, you know? And it's like, dude, like, you know, and also, not only that, but, like, the role of a dad, dude, like, from back in the day, you know, maybe not like when we were kids, but like the dad was never really supposed to be hands-on like that. You know, if you watch like, I don't know, like Mad Men, you know, like that, his role wasn't to raise, you know what I mean? The kids, right?
There are people like that still today, like they don't really believe like, or they believe like dad should be out all day working hard, coming home. The wife takes care of the kids and it's like the house is clean, all that stuff. I mean, I can see the argument, like, because again, the productivity of it, like, I'm not the best guy to take care of these kids all day. I'm gonna be honest, dude.
True.
Like, patience for one, cleanliness for another. Like, you know, it's juggling that. I think moms are naturally more like well built for it. But in our time, it's almost like you can't tell someone just like stay home and just take care of the kids. Like, you know, I do think like moms can work. See, but this is what me and Gracie talk about though. It's like, to have you be a mom and to see how much you give to the kids, and then I'm gonna have you work full time still on top of it, dude. If you ask me, that's way too much to ask from a mom. Like, that's way too much. So like that's why we're in this place of like, let me work more. Maybe you switch to part time. I can work more hours and more per hour, if anything. Like, I'll come home with more. Like, play to our strengths almost. But yeah, like in Mad Men or like in the olden days, like, you know, dad would work all day and then come home at night. Like, it's the old fashioned, right?
Yeah.
But was it, like, that's the argument. Like, was it actually more efficient?
Right.
Was it better?
I think at a certain age they start to really step into like the dad role, right? Like, but you know, like for the early years, like I think they're totally hands off, you know. So the fact that we even are still, you know, striving to provide, and we still want to be hands on, like I think we deserve a little bit of credit for that too. You know what I mean?
Definitely. That's the thing. Like, one of the most recent reels I posted, like people actually liked it a lot, but I was like, you know, like the people that say, oh yeah, you shouldn't change diapers, like guys shouldn't change diapers. I was like, yeah, what the fuck, dude?
Certainly.
Like, you know, get over yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Like, do you care? Like, that's the question.
Yeah.
I do think our generation's kind of like the mom and dad are both balanced in those things.
I think so.
But I don't know if we're evolving to be the same person now. That's like the difference. Like, I definitely think there's more like maybe labor, like hard labor, physical strength that a guy can do working more or whatever.
Yeah.
While the mom has a lot more patience than the dad does. And she like cover it that way. Like we overlap still, but not like we're the same. There's no right answer. It's like, what's the best balance for your family, right? And what works for me and Gracie should be different from other people. But again, the fucking king's disease, bro. Like, will you ever be comfortable? Will you ever feel confident or balanced in this? Probably not, dude. It's the constant battle.
I think also, I mean, it doesn't hurt, or like, I think you're pretty blessed that, you know, you actually have a career that, you know, that can allow you to do that, you know, like work more. Like not everybody has the opportunity, you know, like.
And I'll say like, it was a blessing. Did I want to be in this field? I'm gonna be honest, dude. No. Like I was told to do it. I was encouraged to do it, right? But then, if I didn't say yes to that time, I definitely wouldn't have the flexibility I have now. But it gives me enough opportunity now to actually do what I love. I actually love doing it now. So like, it's hard because, I mean, we all have dreams and stuff, and everyone says like, accomplish your dreams, your passion, whatever. You know, like me and Nick, like I used to like look up to Nick with like music. I was like going for that at some point. Then I realized like, oh, okay, it's probably not gonna work out. That's fine. And then everyone's like, oh, you know, do nursing. All right, fine. I found out like what the music, when I made music, what it gave me, like it does translate to everything I'm doing now still. It's just, I didn't understand it yet. I didn't see the use for it yet in whatever it is, podcasting or like interacting with people, even managing a classroom. Like everything freaking relates from that point, like to the detail of like how I made these sounds, to the detail of how I made this PowerPoint. Like it freaking translated. And I think when we hold on to a dream or we have ambition, it might not be, and this is speaking from my experience, right? It might not be the actual dream of accomplishing that thing. It might be what that thing would have given you. Like what you would have felt, what you would have been able to express in that dream, in that accomplishment. And I'm a big proponent of like, dude, if you just say yes to certain things and you just follow the path, not force anything, but not resist anything either, dude, it unfolds. Like, I mean, that to me is like, that's God's way of just saying, hey, dude, like, just trust me. Like, sometimes you don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the one step. And I never thought I'd be a nurse. I never thought I'd be a teacher. I never thought I'd be podcasting. Ever, bro. And then for some reason, it all works out. And we're talking the way we're talking right now because of everything I've experienced, you know? So it's almost like dream, like freaking as hard as you can, as big as you can, but never be attached to that dream.
All right.
It's what God would have made you experience through it. And maybe that's why I look at things the way I do. I don't know. Like with detaching from you know, whatever I thought I was supposed to be or whatever. Like just letting go of certain things and just saying yes to the moment. I find myself here now, like loving what I do.
You know what trips me out? Like, you know, I battle with every day, right? Like I look at people with careers or 9-to-5s or whatever, you know what I mean? Like the safe jobs that probably don't fulfill, like, you know, them, like, doesn't feel like the creative void, you know, but it's safe and it pays or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my life and I'm just like, damn, like I want that, you know what I mean? Safety, you know, after like 9-10 years of not having safety, it sounds pretty good right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Especially with you know,
the way it is right now.
Yeah, like that's what I should be, right? But then I hear so many people who have like these jobs and they can buy houses and whatever, and they feel and they're just like, I want to try something else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to see if I can. I'm like, am I gonna give up everything that I built the past 9 years, take that job just to realize that, you know what I mean? Like, is it literally just about the money? Because if you ask me, like, am I fulfilled, like, creatively, and like, am I happy? Can I wake up excited to do what I do? 100% yes, right? But it's the money, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Does
it's
it translate to like
right.
financial security?
Right. Which at the same time, like, I can't deny, like, in this industry, in real estate, right? It's there. It's the possibility. There is a possibility. It's not a dead end path that I chose, you know? But I would have to let go of my responsibilities here, right?
Yeah.
I got it to the point where it's just like, I can be hands-on and I can make just enough, you know what I mean? Like, but if I really detached and I put in the hours, who knows where? And that's the thing, like, I could get a job, right? Knowing sooner or later there's gonna be a cap in what I can make, right? The one thing that I have going for me right now is that there's no limit. As long as I put in the work and I you know, I acquire the knowledge, there's no limit to how much can be made, right? And that gives me hope. But in the day-to-days, from the moment we wake up, or at least right, when your kids go to school, you understand, right? But the moment I wake up, I drop them off and then I get a few hours to work. Then once they come home, it's just like I have that little gap to get everything done. Because once they come home and I try to work, dude, there's no way. I'm interrupted every 15 minutes with, like, I need this, I need that. You might get a little bit of a break, but then, you know, they're arguing or, you know, and then it's time for dinner. Next thing you know, it's like time for dinner. And then after dinner, it's like bath. And then, you know what I mean? Like hygiene stuff. And it's just like, dude, seriously, how the hell, you know? And then it's like, okay, fine. When they go to sleep, then I'll get back on it. If I don't get sleep right now, I could sacrifice it, but man, like the next morning, I'm gonna be useless.
Yeah. You're not worth anything.
Yeah.
It's the constant battle, man. It makes you wonder, though. Like, the same thing I asked Rubian. Like, what would you say to people that hear us and they're like, "Well, fuck that. I don't want to be a dad then, man."
Yeah. I say this, dude. If you're planning on being a parent or you want to be a parent, like, just understand that most of the time it's not fun, dude. Like, it's not. I mean, most of the time it's work, dude. You know, or it's just like boring sometimes. Like, honestly, but those moments, you know what I mean, that you will catch those moments and it'll make everything worth it. Yeah. You know, you just have to kind of wait for those moments.
Those moments will come, though.
You know? Yeah, and it does make it. It does make all of the grinding, you know, worth it.
And dude, I would imagine later on at some point you'll see the fruits of everything that you're dedicated to now, like teaching and all this stuff. It's gonna come out. Yeah. But you're right, dude. It's not what they show in the movies, dude. It's not freaking like fun every day, all day. Yeah. No, dude. I mean, just like anything, like any relationship, dude. Yeah. When you become a father for the first time, it's like infatuation, man. Like, you're like, oh my God. And then you go back to work. Yeah. And then you come home and it's like, oh yeah, like we still have a newborn, man. And when you get past that, it's almost like, okay, now you're in that mode of like, you're like in a wheel and then it's a blur. Yeah. But then you do have those moments, I feel like it touches you and you're like, this is a life in my hands. Yeah, dude.
Look what I created. Like, look what we created. You
created a whole person. I mean? Yeah. And to be honest, like, some people aren't able to do that. But I think naturally we all hope for that at some point.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about like the hardship of being a dad, it's not like to scare anybody. It's not. I would say it's actually the most rewarding if you look at things like not from like numbers or anything. It's fulfillment in life. Like you're creating life.
Yeah.
A legacy that will live on forever. And it's so delicate, so you have to be on point. It'll challenge you to be better. Like we're all working on ourselves even harder now because we have kids.
Absolutely.
You know? But it's moments like this where we could talk about it and be like, yeah, dude, it's freaking... I mean, you can't say that all the time.
Yeah.
Let alone to your kids. They won't understand. You can't say, you know how hard it is to raise you guys? They will never understand. And maybe until they're older, until they have their own kids, they'll be like, I get it. Or they see this and they're like, oh, I didn't realize Dad was like having a hard time with us.
Yeah.
But then that would bring up, but he still showed up, but he still gave us everything we needed.
Right.
He still helped us.
And I guess, I mean, I guess it took a long time too, but like, you know, when I look at my parents and I look back at my childhood and then like, I'm like, dude, like I remember the, like whatever memories I do have with them or spending time with them, like the quality time, you know, they were probably going through some real shit like during that time. You know what I mean? I had no idea, you know, because like right now our kids won't understand like our worries right now. You know what I mean? It's like, oh dude, you were just chilling with me on the couch and we were watching a movie. But in reality, like life behind that was falling apart, dude, you know?
Yeah. And I think like once they realize that, I would hope that it does inspire them to be like, oh, like that's what life's about.
Yeah.
You know, like living for these moments, regardless of what is happening in the world, the chaos in our head sometimes. All I cared about that time, like, is that Dad just sat with me and watched this movie and we laughed together, you know?
Yeah. Those moments are beautiful.
That's it, man.
Makes everything worth it.
Now that you've shared the night with me on the podcast, I do want to say, and I'm still going to say it, bro, that you're someone I definitely respect. I've always respected growing up. I looked up to you. I still look up to you like a brother. One of my older brothers that I look to for guidance, man. And especially now that I'm a father, I watch dads and I seek out the dads to learn from them, you know? And like I said before we start recording, like a lot of people do respect you. And I think it's because they see that you are going through your battles, but you're not trying to shove it down people's throats. You are kind of silent with the suffering, but that's something I even respect more, you know? To see how far you've come and everything that we talked about, it's almost like it gives me hope. It gives me inspiration that like no matter what I'm going through, man, we're still gonna show up for our kids, you know? Thank you, bro. And
I appreciate you too. I'm proud of all you guys, you know, especially the people that you've become. Like, it doesn't really matter if I'm older or not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm in a place where I feel like I can learn from anybody now, you know what I mean, and your experiences. So, I mean, I really appreciate this time, you know what I mean, and this talk.
We recorded for 4 hours, over 4 hours, right? I'm pretty sure we can squeeze out an hour at least.
I hope so, man.
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can, bro.